We're all surrounded by trillions of organisms. They're in the air. They're on your skin. They're in your hair and under your fingernails. They're even in your mouth. The organisms are so small, you can't see them with your eye alone. But try this. Scrape a little material from your teeth using a toothpick and dab this onto a glass slide. Add a cover slip and place this under your microscope set to the highest power. You should be able to observe plenty of bacteria. They're the tiny specks jittering about. There are billions in your mouth alone. What are they doing there? Are they good for you or bad? Most bacteria are so small, it would take about 10,000 of them laid end to end to equal just a centimeter. They are so small, they are better seen with a special powerful microscope which scientists use, called an electron microscope. This instrument magnifies objects up to 1,000 times more than a standard microscope. With it, you can clearly see the forms of various types of bacteria. Bacteria are organisms that consist of a single cell without a nucleus. They are the smallest, simplest organisms, and they can be found everywhere. In water, in the ground, and even floating in the air. Bacteria resemble the first cells to appear on Earth billions of years ago. Before we find out more about bacteria, let's find out more about cells. Cells are the basic unit of which all living things are made. Your body is made up of trillions of cells. These are human cheek cells. Bacteria are cells too. This is a model of a rod-shaped bacterium cell. By the way, the word bacterium is the singular form of bacteria. Let's split this bacterium in two to find out more about it. The inside of a bacterium is filled with cytoplasm. This is a jelly-like fluid in which many cell reactions occur. Located within the cytoplasm is hereditary material. This is the information that enables the bacterium to reproduce an exact copy of itself. In all other cells, like this human cheek cell, the hereditary material is contained within a nucleus. A bacterium doesn't have a nucleus. Again, its hereditary material is located within the cytoplasm. Every bacterium is surrounded by one or more protective layers. The innermost layer is the membrane. This controls what goes into and out of the bacterium. Most bacteria are also surrounded by a cell wall. The cell wall is what gives the bacterium its shape and helps protect it. Some bacteria also have an additional outer coating called the capsule. The capsule provides additional protection for the bacterium. Bacteria are the only cells that possess capsules. Some bacteria have one or more whip-like structures which are used to propel the bacteria through liquid. This structure is called a flagellum. When there's more than one, they are called flagella. Some bacteria possess dozens of flagella. Many bacteria are in nearly constant motion as they spin their flagella like little propellers. Flagella are so thin, by the way, that you can't see them under a standard microscope. Some bacteria spin and wiggle their way through liquid. Some bacteria don't have flagella, and some of these move by twitching their bodies. Once a bacterium cell reaches a certain size, it will divide into two identical cells called daughter cells. When cells reproduce, it is called cell division. Some cells reproduce very quickly, sometimes every few minutes. This sequence has been speeded up to show you more of the process. In real time, this sequence took several hours to record. Bacteria reproduce so quickly that they can form a very large population within a short time. These students are about to find out how quickly bacteria can reproduce. One student takes bacteria from her mouth and dabs this onto some growth medium, a type of food for bacteria.
Let's put the lid on. All right.
Another student scrapes material from under his nails and dabs this into another dish filled with growth medium. And this student uses a cotton swab to wipe some bacteria from some coins. The swab is then dabbed into another dish filled with growth medium. Their teacher places the dishes in an incubator, which keeps the bacteria at a constant warm temperature. In just a few days, a wax-like mass called a culture can be seen on the growth medium. The culture is made up of trillions of bacteria. These are the bacteria taken from the student's mouth. These are the bacteria taken from the student's coins. And these, the bacteria taken from the student's nails. As you can see, different types of bacteria form cultures that look different. Most cultures, like these, are usually gray or cream-colored. But some are brightly colored due to the pigments in the bodies of some bacteria. A culture will keep growing as long as conditions remain favorable and there is enough food. Many bacteria grow best in moist conditions, out of direct light, and at temperatures around 37 degrees centigrade. Freezing and boiling will kill nearly all bacteria. But one type of bacteria has been found thriving in the frozen waste of Antarctica. And another type has been found in boiling hot springs. When conditions become too extreme, some bacteria will enter into a state of suspended animation, a kind of long sleep during which they surround their genetic material in a hard protective coat. They may remain inactive for many years, even centuries, until conditions improve. Bacteria come in many forms. Many are rod-shaped. Rod-shaped bacteria are called bacilli bacteria. Some bacteria are round. These are called cocci bacteria. Cocci bacteria often appear in clusters and chains. Other bacteria are shaped like spirals. They are called spirilla bacteria. Like all organisms, bacteria need food to live and grow. They eat just about any organic matter. These bacteria are feeding on algae. The bacteria in your mouth feed on the food between your teeth. They are both called heterotrophs. Heterotrophs are organisms that live by eating other organisms. All animals in the world, including you and me, are heterotrophs. The greenish color of this pond is caused by another type of bacteria called autotrophs. Autotrophs behave more like plants. They make their own food using the energy found in sunlight. These belong to a group called blue-green bacteria. Most bacteria are harmless to people and many are beneficial. The bacteria in our oceans, lakes, ponds, and streams form the bottom of the food chain. They are an essential food for other microscopic organisms. Here, a tiny pond organism feeds on a stream of swirling bacteria. Without bacteria, many forms of life might not be able to exist. Many bacteria are known as decomposers and help break down dead materials found throughout the world. Here, countless bacteria are feeding on dead tissue found in pond water, helping to break it down. If it weren't for bacteria and other decomposers, our planet would be covered with dead organisms. Bacteria found in the soil help make it fertile, contributing to the growth of plants and food crops. Bacteria in your intestines produce an important vitamin and help you digest your food. Bacteria are used to make a variety of products, including cheese, sour cream, yogurt, and many others. Here, bacteria contained in small pellets are being added to milk to change it into yogurt, a tasty dairy product. Bacteria are used to produce medicines which help fight disease. Many cities use bacteria to help break down sewage. Sewage is left in large tanks like this one for days on end, giving bacteria plenty of time to break down solid sewage into a liquid. This saves workers a lot of hard, yucky work. When the bacteria are done with their job, they are killed off, leaving behind crystal clear water, but you probably wouldn't want to drink it. The treated water is released into rivers and streams, which find their way to the ocean. When oil tankers run aground, they often spill thousands of gallons of crude oil into oceans. The oil washes ashore, covering beaches and killing animals and birds. Such a spill occurred in Alaska in 1989.
Otters mired in oil, dead animals, dead birds, loons. It was just the worst. I mean, you can't imagine.
Hundreds of workers were brought in to clean up the beaches, but they couldn't clean everything. In many places, the beaches looked clean, but under the rocks, oil still remained. That's when oil-eating bacteria were brought in for the final cleanup. These bacteria actually digest oil, breaking it down into harmless substances, as they are doing here. Unfortunately, not all bacteria are helpful. When blue-green bacteria take over a pond, it wipes out other forms of life. When food is left out, bacteria will quickly grow on it, causing it to spoil. The bacteria in your mouth can contribute to tooth decay and even gum disease. That's why it's important to floss and brush your teeth to get rid of the food that bacteria feed on. Bacteria like this can give you a nasty sore throat or infect an open sore. Fortunately, your body has a number of effective defenses against harmful bacteria. Here's one of them. Here, a white blood cell attacks and consumes a bacterium that has managed to find its way into the bloodstream. Millions of white blood cells like this one are constantly patrolling the bloodstream, searching out invader bacteria, keeping your body healthy. But some bacteria are more difficult to kill. The bacteria that cause pneumonia have slippery outer capsules and slide away when white blood cells try to capture them. Bacteria like this can kill you. During the Middle Ages, millions of people died from bacteria-carried diseases. Because they could not see these organisms, people had no way of knowing bacteria even existed, let alone were the cause of disease. In the 1600s, Antony van Leeuwenhoek, a Dutch microscope maker, was the first known person to see bacteria using specimens from his own mouth. He called them little animals, but he didn't know what they were or the harm they could cause. It wasn't until the late 1800s that the famous French scientist Louis Pasteur proved the connection between bacteria and disease. Pasteur and others went on to develop vaccines that protected people from some diseases, but a vaccine wasn't a cure. What was needed was a medicine that could actually kill infectious bacteria in the body without harming human cells. This would have to wait until the early 1900s when Alexander Fleming, a British scientist, discovered a powerful drug called penicillin. This drug kills bacteria by weakening their cell walls. As bacteria grow in size, their cell walls will explode, as they are doing here. Because of penicillin, Diseases like diphtheria, cholera, and tuberculosis are nearly unheard of in modern societies. But scientists aren't trying to kill off all bacteria. In fact, they're trying to develop new types that can be put to work for humans, cleaning up waste, producing better medicines, developing new and useful products. They do this by altering the genetic code of bacteria, by splitting apart their DNA strands and inserting new genes, creating new organisms. As we have already seen, oil-eating bacteria already exist naturally. Scientists are now trying to develop superbacteria that can eat even more oil and reproduce more quickly. Scientists are also trying to develop bacteria that can produce products. The large light-colored blobs inside these bacteria are grains of plastic. Someday, most of the plastics you use may come from bacteria. Farmers are now growing crops like cotton, potatoes, and corn that have been genetically engineered using bacteria. Crops like these are more resistant to insects and result in bigger harvests. Super crops could help wipe out starvation throughout the world. But genetic engineering isn't without risk. Some people wonder whether products developed with bacteria will be completely safe to use. Could bacteria created to fight disease, for example, turn on people instead, making them even sicker or even killing them? Most scientists think the risk is small, but some people aren't sure. Unfortunately, genetic engineering can be used in an evil way. Some outlaw nations are developing types of bacteria, like anthrax, that are especially deadly and which could be used in warfare and in terrorist attacks. Super deadly bacteria could be released in schools, office buildings, city parks, any place large numbers of people gather. Bacteria like this would be resistant to most medicines and have the potential of killing tens of thousands of people. In this program, we have seen that bacteria are organisms that consist of a single cell without a nucleus. The inside of a bacterium is filled with cytoplasm. Located within the cytoplasm is hereditary material. Every bacterium is surrounded by one or more protective layers. Some bacteria have one or more structures called flagella, which are used to propel the bacteria through liquid. Bacteria come in many forms, including rod-shaped bacteria called bacilli, sphere-shaped bacteria called cocci, and spiral called spirilla. Bacteria reproduce through cell division. Some bacteria are heterotrophs. They live by eating organic material. Other bacteria are autotrophs. They make their own food. Most bacteria are either harmless or beneficial. Bacteria form the bottom of the food chain. They feed on and break down dead material, getting rid of waste. Bacteria found in the soil help make it fertile. Bacteria in your intestines produce an important vitamin and help you digest your food. Bacteria are used to make a variety of products. Many cities use bacteria to help break down sewage. And bacteria are sometimes used to clean up oil spills. Not all bacteria are helpful. Blue-green bacteria can take over a pond, wiping out other forms of life. When food is left out, bacteria will quickly grow on it, causing it to spoil. Bacteria in your mouth can contribute to tooth decay and gum disease, and a few bacteria can kill you. While some bacteria are deadly, it's important to remember that the vast majority are harmless and many benefit humans, which is a good thing, because bacteria will always be with us.